The culture is actually damn good.
We're not urinating on fire.
You can stop asking that question. I'm going to be calling the defense.
What I talked to Russell about is none of your business.
Both games.
Be a time when Deshaun Watson's contract forces Cleveland to shed critical talents to their franchise. That year will fortunately not be this one. The Browns restructured Deshaun's deal so they can attempt to field a competitive team with him in tow. It allowed them to not only keep Nick Chubb, but sign defensive pieces like Dalvin Tomlinson, Juan Thornhill, and Ogbo Okoronkwo. Considering that Jadeveon Clowney is jumping for joy that he's gone, they're decent replacements. Only problem is that they kick the can down the road. Thanks to the restructure, Deshaun's cap hit in future years jumps to over $60 million. Good luck trying to keep Nick Chubb with that, Cleveland. You have no idea how unbelievably critical this season is for the Browns. Nobody's discussing it, but if things go miserably for them this go around, it could quite literally set the franchise back years. Deshaun Watson's contract will be coming to a head thanks to a restructure. You paid a king's ransom for him, you'll deal with an over $60 million cap hit in the future. There are too many questions to ask towards the outcome of this team to be confident in them. Is Deshaun going to return to anything close to his old form? Will the defense be somewhat competent without Joe Woods ruining everything? Will they learn not to spend fourth-round picks on kickers? Is Jimmy Haslam now the worst owner in football since Snyder is gone? What is the consensus opinion on their new logo? All these and more will have to be answered. If they're wrong or poor responses, God help them. In the AFC East, regardless of competition, the Bills are still the best in class in my opinion. AFC North, barring more injury to Joe Burrow, Cincy takes it with their elite offense. The AFC South, it's Jacksonville's to lose. They have to win it by default, right? Although we did say that about Tennessee last year. And the AFC West is a Kansas City affair. As usual. Wild cards, though, they're really hard to gauge. Pick them out of a hat, I guess. Ravens, Chargers, and Jets. Why Jets? Because this is usually how ridiculous it tends to be. Sue me. I'm sorry for all the teams I jinxed as always. I regret nothing. Burrow's first opponent on the docket? A bunch of elves. Little did the Bengals know that these elves had access to mithril armor and hid in the mystical woods. As Cincy slowly treks through the domain, it becomes a sequel to the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. Ambushed at every angle by slings of arrows, charging infantry and cavalry as they're whittled away one by one. The freshly paid General Burrow had generational levels of rust, unable to muster any counterattack against their foes' waves of attacks. The offense stymied under a litany of magic spells and alchemy alike. Joe Burrow was forced to retreat from battle with less than 100 yards passing, and the Browns celebrate a hard-earned win. Cleveland is Cleveland, huh? Nice bulletin board material, Jamar. Why not double down on it as those elves use you as target practice? I legitimately don't know what the hell I even witnessed. This was a game? This happened? I thought it was a fever dream after getting a contact high. I'm gonna have to separate this one, aren't I? Yeah, I am. Fuck life. Apparently, there will be no other sports covered. I can't escape it. And of course, it's involving the goddamn Pittsburgh Steelers. Did you see how awful it was for them last week? Any hope for them in the preseason was destroyed in about 5 minutes. San Francisco came in and smashed them to pieces. Everything was horrible, nothing is fine. Matt Canada is still here despite only 1 yard of offense deep into the second quarter. And the hits keep coming for the Steelers. Kinda literally. The team's banged up. Cam Hayward, Deontay Johnson, and Anthony McFarland are all on IR. Hayward's presence will be sorely missed, and depth will be tested. Their opponent this week are blood-hungry elves. Cincinnati poked this bear one too many times and paid dearly for it. The Browns annihilated the Bengals like Art Modell screwing over Paul Brown. A strong defense featuring an offensive Deshaun Watson doing things. They pray for his bounce back. Nick Chubb, however, is still as beastly as ever. He owns the Steelers like rental property most games. Unfortunately for them, their O-line's taken a blow. Starting right tackle Jack Conklin is out for the season. It's not a critical loss, but over time it could affect the men behind him. Monday Night Football, the scene, the second game of the night. Not much happened in the first one. I'd like to believe both Saints and Panthers fans would like to keep it that way. It's all but must win for Pittsburgh, which will be interesting considering they have no offense. Cleveland's looking to go 2-0 for the first time in 30 years. A lot's at stake for both teams. And as the game begins...
Chubb splits out to the top of the screen. Quick right. The deflection.
The bullshit strikes with fury. Thank the Lord Harrison Bryant lathered his hands in grease. No grip as it pinballs right into the hands of Alex Highsmith for a pick six. The crowd is alive. Hope is returned for about a minute. Take two on the Browns' drive. This one goes a little more smoothly. There isn't a botched play to start it. In fact, Cleveland manages to move the ball forwards this time. At least until Joey Porter Jr. leaps onto the scene to force a fourth down and field goal. God bless nepotism. Asking for a friend, can he also return kicks? Gunnar Olszewski is many things. Good is not one of them. His receiver instincts had to kick in on a kickoff going out of bounds. Get his ass off the team. I'm done with him. In fact, I'm getting that way with Kenny Picktoff. What was that throw, man? Right in the breadbasket of Grant Delpit? I thought you were done with this shit. Fortunately, the defense isn't done eating Deshaun alive. Mike Tomlin then used his telekinetic powers to make the Browns miss the field goal. Hallelujah. Perhaps in the next lifetime, we'll discover an offense that can convert a first down. This one gives us no such thing. There's also no skill from Pat Pete, who drapes Amari Cooper in decoration as he catches a first down. God bless the fact that Deshaun throws to Elijah Moore, who demanded his way out of New York to catch the ball out of bounds. Fourth down is upon us, but Deshaun forces his hands into a position where the Steelers don't want them. It's a first down to end the quarter.
Hold it!
Tomlin's challenging this. Oh Lord, here comes a wasted timeout. Wait a second. The ball was knocked out before his knee went down. Thank the gods the doctoring of the tape has worked wonders. The bullshit of Steeler football is real. And now we must travel back in time. To the first quarter. A simpler time. A kinder time. A time where Gunnar Olszewski is still fucking trash, and what the hell is happening with the football? Jesus Lord, the field's become a pinball table and cats are dancing with dogs. Quick, someone tilt the field so it rolls back to Cleveland territory. It sadly doesn't, and the Browns are in prime field position. And Nick Chubb crushes this team like a lantern fly. Why did you have to take out Nick Chubb? What the hell did he do to you? I love Nick Chubb. I look forward to seeing him play every time Cleveland plays the Steelers. He's a beast, and one of the best runners in the game. And now his knee's destroyed.
I am told that the replay of Nick Chubb getting injured is not to be seen.
Let's put it this way. The knee is not supposed to bend 90 degrees to the right. That's structural damage. Worse, this was the same knee that got blown up when he was a young runner at Georgia almost a decade ago. It's not just the season that might be over for him. A brutal loss not just for the Browns, but for the game of football. I don't know if Minka was deliberately aiming low or if that notorious Pittsburgh sod was awful, but I hate this more than you can imagine. It's fucking bullshit. Well, Kareem Hunt, welcome back to the fold. Cleveland gets a touchdown with Jerome Ford, but it feels more devastating than anything. Their offensive catalyst is gone, but a great miracle is about to take place. Pittsburgh did something on offense. An incredible sight. They did jack shit afterwards because they fulfilled their quota for the drive. Pickett can't throw accurately, but the boss can kick, so 3 more points on the board. But for the Browns, when it shits, it's diarrhea. Elijah Moore makes a great catch, but oh, he can't keep both feet in bounds again. What a pity. May the Steelers do something with this blessing.
Pickett wide open, Pickens. There he goes. Touchdown Steelers, back on top.
The Steelers scored an offensive touchdown? Longer than 10 yards. In an actual football game. See, this is why you throw to George Pickens. That motherfucker makes magic happen. Maybe they can get the 2-point conversion, too. I asked for too much. Holy roller roll. Damn it. Continue offensive ineptitude on both fronts. Elijah Moore, shocker, can't keep both feet in bounds. The Steelers simply can't keep both feet upright. This is the time for Deshaun Watson to shine. With how much they paid in draft capital and guaranteed money, it has to be a record-setting moment. And it was for TJ Watt. He killed Deshaun to set the team record for sacks. Well done. Cleveland hears a field goal as compensation. It's halftime, and I legitimately don't know how the Steelers have the lead. At this point, I've learned one thing. Don't ask questions, just embrace the bullshit of Steeler football. Even crazier, Pittsburgh manages to get back in field goal range. But Kenny can't throw accurately, so they'll have to settle for Chris Boswell, one of the few offensive weapons that can do anything. Speaking of one of the few offensive weapons that can do anything, here's Jerome Ford. When holes close strong side, new windows of opportunity open. In this case, all the way down to the 1-yard line where Pierre Strong puts it in for an easy touchdown. Deshaun manages to do something for once and get the 2-point conversion. Well, it was nice knowing the lead while it lasted. With this shit offense, nothing's happening. Kenny just dies in the pocket. The fortunate thing is that Cleveland's is almost as bad. Deshaun Watson fucking sucks. We're not even at the point of rust anymore. The guy's visibly lost a step or three since happy endings were silenced. His only offensive prowess is in face mask penalties and accosting refs. Deshaun's learned well. He says he did nothing wrong. Deshaun Watson actively denying touching someone he shouldn't have. The fruit's hanging so low it may as well be on the ground. He should be thankful Pickett's been shittier or else he'd be getting ripped harder than he already is. Maybe Eckershure's insurance is part of the sponsorship agreement. I know they don't sell health insurance, I don't give a shit. Anything's useful in this shit heap of injuries. Thank God Presley Harvin is the greatest punter in the world. A 3-point deficit is more like 300 with the Trudeau offense on display. They're gonna need some high-end talent to give them another 3 and out.
4-man rush, Njoku underneath, 4th down. Ball comes out.
That's a start. And the reward is truly great. Nobody blocking Sione Takitaki for a 3 and out. Once again, Presley Harvin is the greatest punter in the world. God bless his thick-legged greatness. It's all part of the master plan.
Neal showing blitz, here he comes. Here I pressure ball. Save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way.
All of Yinzerdom is shrieking their war cry. Kinda sounds like a TIE fighter. High-end talent bailing out the Steelers again to give them the lead by 4. Highsmith and Watt, a blessing of blessings. May they reinforce to the world that Deshaun Watson still sucks. The world cheers. Now the Steelers can end it with, what the fuck was that, Kenny? Dead serious, what the hell was that play call? What is execution? Can we do it to the offense? The capacity crowd wants blood. It should have happened last season. Now Cleveland has a chance to win because the Steelers have a Yugo for an offense. Time winding down and they're pushing down the field to about the 50-yard line. It's time for the Pittsburgh D to bail this team out one last time. Deshaun can run, but he can't hide from the hands of Elijah Riley? Okay then, 4th down is upon them, and the predictable happens. Deshaun throws an incomplete pass. The Steelers have somehow won, and we technically ask this every week. Joey Porter Jr. got away with some grabbing of the jersey, but do you really want to give Deshaun any good fortune? This is the QB you're stuck with, Cleveland. Have fun with that. I don't exaggerate when I say that this is probably one of the 10 worst losses in Browns history. Not just in the way they lost, not in how they self-destructed on offense, not even in losing to goddamn Pittsburgh yet again. It's in the long-term ramifications. Deshaun Watson isn't going to save them. Their best defensive weapon may have played his last game as a Brown, and the whole game plan fell apart once he was gone. This was devastating, and it might derail the season in spite of their defense. And against a hated rival, them? Jesus. As what is supposedly the greatest game finally ends, we continue with more bullshit to come. Matt Canada remains because the Steelers don't fire coaches. And Mike Tomlin wants the fans fat, sassy, and spoiled. Did Tomlin just call me fat? Quick question for Tennessee. Is there any chance you can score 2 defensive touchdowns like the Steelers did? I don't know if there's going to be any other way to solve Cleveland's Rubik's Cube. Sadly for them, they are not playing the Chargers defense in any way, shape, or form. Their offensive attack is going to wilt and shrivel like an unwatered plant. And you know who likes eating those? The Browns defense. There will be no shelter on the miserable elements today, Titans. You will do nothing on offense. You will not cry for the fallen. You will not return to pick up the corpses for proper burial. You will suffer volley after volley from Deshaun Watson. How the hell did you make him look that good today? Who needs a ground game when you can't stop him from the air? It was almost like he was back to Texans form today. Them's the breaks for the Titans. Like the Bengals, you run into elves and they slaughter you in the forest. NFL fans around the world rejoice! Deshaun Watson is dealing with an elbow injury that will keep him out of this game. Begin the sensation that is Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback. He got eaten alive. Another reason why preseason stats should be taken with a pinch of salt. Because the Ravens defense was eager to crush someone after falling apart last week. Only 166 yards of offense surrendered all day. And against their vastly inferior clone, what isn't a better outcome than watching Cleveland die yet again? Even their defense would have no chance at being successful. They had only given up 1 offensive touchdown in 3 games to this point. Lamar had 4 of them on his own. No matter what happens, Art Modell will piss all over Cleveland in the afterlife. I think they call that rain up there. Cleveland is facing shitloads of adversity once again. Another week passes where Deshaun Watson is unable to play thanks to a shoulder injury. This time around, Houston Roughnecks legend PJ Walker gets the call under center. Browns defense, I know you've done pretty much every single thing for the franchise this year, but they're gonna need another carry job. San Francisco is an offense that can score at will and is heavily favored to take you out back and put you out of your misery. Can you manage? Surprisingly, yes. The Niners can do nothing whatsoever against an otherworldly assault. Worst of all, the injury bug is raining down on them like the weather. Deebo Samuel's out. Trent Williams is out. Keep going. Christian McCaffrey's out too. Without elite weapons to insulate him, Brock Purdy is exposed in the open to be shot on sight. It turns into a grindy, ugly, grungy neck-and-neck affair. The type of game that the Niners aren't built to play, and they're exposed in the dog pound. The Niners are down by 3, but they need a miracle to have a chance. Fortunately, they get one. Thank you, PJ Walker. They waltz in for an easy touchdown to regain the lead. But the Browns are a gritty bunch, and the Niners are fatigued. Slowly chip away at that strong defense and force them to bend, at least until a big sack of PJ forcing a field goal. Ideally, this is where the game would end. Too bad the Shanahan offense doesn't have an off switch. 3 and out. Cleveland gets the ball again, and they'll use a kill streak perk. Niners, it's time for you to experience the glories of ref ball. You thought you were safe? Of course not. All teams must suffer, including you as the Browns get to the red zone. They stop them, but not before the field goal is kicked to retake the lead. Frisco, it's pressure time. You know what to do. Finish with everything you have. Brock Purdy manages to thread the needle to field goal range. Fucking amazing. They can escape the labyrinth.
Moody.
San Francisco officially hates the Moody Blues. Just putting it out there that Robbie Gould would have made this kick. His leg's probably getting an itch just thinking about this miss. Cleveland escapes by the skin of their damn teeth because San Fran needed humbling. Man, that defense is really good. Imagine if they had a real quarterback to help them out. Be nice to find one out there somewhere. No matter what they do, the Colts are forever doomed to be cursed. Hissing generational QBs into the wind has brought them the wrath of the football gods. This year is not to be one where everything implodes on itself, but it must be one of constant teasing and punishments that rival Joe. Deshaun Watson is terrible, but this blessing for Indy was short-lived. He was pulled thanks to injury. Then he cleared concussion protocol, yet was still on the bench. Yeah, sure it was to protect him. You can say he fucking sucks, it's fine. A game featuring XFL legend PJ Walker should be a relatively easy victory for Indy. However, they forgot one thing. The Browns' defense is fucking incredible. Myles Garrett is out here doing his best Superman impression, bending offensive lines and leaping tall blockers in a single bound to keep Cleveland in the game. Eat your heart out, Joe Woods. Jim Schwartz's men have come to play. Too bad the Browns' offense can't do much of anything. Thanks to some heroic efforts from Uncle Rico Minshew and Jonathan Taylor, it becomes a battle of attrition. Cleveland's defensive curtains suffocating and creating endless opportunities for their own team. And the Colts trying to overcome the power of such a defense in general. It turns into a back-and-forth contest, with 8 lead changes throughout. Dustin Hopkins kicks a field goal to put the Browns up by 2. But unfortunately, the defense was allowed one really sloppy play, and let Michael Pittman slip away into hyperspace for a touchdown to retake the lead. Now the pressure's on. Cleveland has one last chance at glory, and they corner the Colts in the red zone. But here's where the curse continues.
47 seconds left. 9th play of the drive. Walker under pressure. Football is loose. That's a live football. And Indianapolis has it. Buckner.
So what's the catch? Illegal contact negating the play. How lovely. Ref ball or not, that's brutal. How the hell do they one up this?
Walker from the gun throws. Back of the end zone. Incomplete. Looking for Peoples-Jones. And another flag.
This ball is catchable? Fuck, man, the pass was 5 yards over the receiver's head. Paul Bunyan wouldn't have caught it in bounds. Another game ruined by blatant ref ball.
Hunt. Did he get in? Touchdown.
Indy got straight up fucked. How wonderful. Cleveland wins another game in spite of themselves thanks to fluke bullshit and high-end talent. Conveniently, the second game in 2 weeks where they benefited from ref ball. They're turning into the Steelers in real time. I'm just so proud of them. They're growing up so fast. Deshaun Watson is a man under fire. He's out yet again, and accusations are flying across the board. Does he have the passion to play through his issues? Is he more injured than the Browns are letting on? Is PJ Walker just the better quarterback for them right now? At this point, all I know is that Seattle's pouring it on Cleveland's defense to start the affair. It's a nice breath of fresh air for an offense needing to finish drives, but the Browns aren't too far behind in their attack. They'll rattle off 2 TDs of their own to make it a 3-point game. And now the dogfight will commence. Defensive stalemates. Interceptions by Geno Smith. Cleveland imitating Seattle by being unable to finish the job in the red zone. Even when Geno throws another pick to the waiting hands of a Brown, they can't fully capitalize on it. Remember these goal line stands by the Seahawks. They'll be notable later on. Time will tick down in the fourth quarter, but neither offense can muster up much besides burning a bit of clock. Here is where Cleveland has the chance to upend their opponent. We're headed to the 2-minute warning. All the Browns have to do is gingerly walk the contest home and a win is there.
Pressure coming from Adams. And that's batted, and it is picked off!
So why the hell is Cleveland throwing on a 3rd and 3? They were controlling them on the ground. They had it won. And those ambitions were knocked away by Jamal Adams' helmet. Of course, this is when the Browns defense runs out of gas and Geno rallies the Seahawks to escape from hell.
Smith, screen, Jackson, Smith, and J-Buck looking for the lead, and redemption for the Seahawk offense! Touchdown, Seahawks lead!
You call that a tragic Browns loss? That's nothing. This kind of devastation is Wednesday for them. It's tough to swallow, but Seattle jumps out of the building before it explodes. They fly away to the promised land of the NFC West Division lead. Who the hell saw this coming 3 weeks ago? The quarterback shuffle continues throughout the NFL. In Cleveland, Deshaun Watson's shoulder's been massaged enough to be ready to play. For Arizona, Dobby the House Elf got moved to a different location and Kyler's not ready yet. We must suffer through Clayton Tune's debut. Like his namesake, he played like he was a second-tier antagonist in Math Rabbit. Against one of the best defenses in football? Nope. Syntax error, team not found. 58 yards of offense is generous enough if we're being honest. The score may have been ugly, but the game was even uglier than that. Cleveland had more penalty yards than the Cardinals had offense. Now this is the kind of tanking that gets a team another quarterback to ruin in the offseason. Browns, you can find the win in the pool of your opponent's blood. Deshaun looks relatively passable as well, so there's that. And again, it is Arizona. Deshaun Watson is doing what he does best. Handing the game away on a silver platter. The hell is this form he had in Houston? In fact, where's the defense? Baltimore is going ham on this group of elves. Browns look completely dead and have fallen to a very early deficit. How poorly Deshaun has played in the first half, they're forced to settle for field goals. Thank God the Browns D managed to clamp up and bail out the day once again, but it's getting painful. A 24-9 lead for Baltimore at home in the third quarter. For normal teams, this should be the end of the match and the Ravens go to 8-2. However, this is the NFL. Everything is madness. The sports ball's turning into an MCU feature in length. The Browns had only one choice to counter Baltimore. Embrace the bullshit. They had to swallow their pride and become Pittsburgh. Slice away little bits of offense as Deshaun minimizes mistakes and they tire out their defense. It gets them back in the game, but it'd be nice if they wouldn't fumble punts. Alas, the Ravens score another touchdown, but there must be more voodoo magic from Stefanski. The offense continues to force endless chaos to the end zone for another touchdown. And then the high-end talent comes into view. Lamar Jackson getting a pass deflected into the arms of a pick six. I'd say it'd be tied, but it's so Cleveland to miss the extra point after the fact. Lamar's been brutal in this fourth quarter. This is why they pay him the big bucks, I guess. So Cleveland can grind it out Pittsburgh style against their foe and whittle away all remaining time on the clock. Field goal range has arrived. It's over. Cleveland stick it to Modell and drive the dagger.
Hopkins from 40 for the win. It is good!
The Ravens let another easy win slip away. I don't understand how the fuck this keeps happening. Games that should cement them in the elite echelon only serving to keep them in the limbo outside the upper crust. Sure, blame the refs and injuries on the O-line. Browns were without both starting tackles today. Are they complaining? No, they just adapted to adversity, pushing out a win. And they more than earned it. Are you ever gonna stop this shit, Ravens? I beg you, fucking stop!
You blew it. Fish.
Oh no, Cleveland, you don't think you're getting out of this unscathed either, are you? Your nightmare season's only beginning. The Browns are winning in spite of Deshaun Watson, but he's still a dynamic player in theory. Plus, he has had his moments in the past few weeks. This was supposed to be an unbelievably critical year for the Browns, but it keeps breaking down on them. Deshaun's undergoing what many fans call a happy ending. Season-ending shoulder surgery. Another devastating blow in a year of adversity. That trade for Deshaun and the huge contract they gave him is looking to be absolutely awful right now. Watson hasn't fully recaptured his form from Houston. And who the hell knows if he ever can? With that cap hit coming up in the next few years, Cleveland might become a factory of sadness again. That defense of theirs is gonna have to carry a much heavier load than they already are. So how long will it be until they break? This game is going to be such AFC North football that it's going to cause a rip in the space-time continuum. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is being chucked into the fire again to replace Deshaun. And Kenny Pickett will be thrown out there in the longest pass the Steelers will make all game. The standard is the standard in Pittsburgh. All the lucky breaks and opportunities given in the world, yet the Steelers will piss it away every chance they get. This offense is horrid. It's a long broken record, but with how badly they're butchering Pickett, he's turned chicken shit out there. He's so afraid of making a mistake he isn't throwing down the middle of the field. The Browns defense is destroying them not only physically, but psychologically. Kenny's regressed so badly that he can't throw a fucking football most plays. The dude got outplayed by a 5th-round rookie. That's a level of pathetic I never thought I'd see. The only offensive production in the game for Pittsburgh were splash plays by Jalen Warren. Make that guy the offensive coordinator. He's the only one doing a fucking thing on that side of the ball. And he's still getting less touches than Najee. Yet somehow, this is still a game because the Browns' offense is wrecked by injury and DTR can't solve the Steelers' defense or receiver drops. Cleveland then remembers what's led them to wins in the past, becoming the Steelers. They must rely on the bullshit to get them to victory. Too bad they're facing older brother and high-end talent will bail them out once again. Where's the high-end talent? Steelers, why are you letting DTR face a prevent defense? The high-end talent wasn't supposed to be for the Browns. Why are they so easily getting into field goal range? I was told there'd be endless bullshit for Pittsburgh. Why has Cleveland won the game? Why are they the ones that are 7-3? Where is the Tomlin sorcery I was promised? Figures they deflate me like this. The hopium in Denver is spreading like a disease. A virulent, exponentially growing specimen that infests your nervous system and hijacks all feeling and movement. A win streak against playoff caliber opponents will tend to do that. Mention all the asterisks in the world, it does not matter. The Broncos keep winning because fuck you. Dorian Thompson-Robinson can do next to nothing in this contest, mostly because his receivers can't catch anything around here. Even the hopium. That'd be one thing, but even their defense is struggling to generate any traction. Incredibly sloppy all around. Brown's weakness is being picked apart in the Rocky Mountain air. It only got worse as DTR was picked apart by a screaming Broncos defender. PJ Walker ain't doing shit against this unit. Russell Wilson will take over on that end. Denver wins their 5th in a row in incredibly easy fashion. They took a legitimate threat and dispatched them without breaking a sweat. As I said, hopium is a hell of a drug, and they're earning every last bit of it. I know you guys. I'm scared too. In our hour of need, we have the greatest blessing. Joe Flacco starting a game in 2023. Elite quarterback play complementing an elite defense. Well, that elite defense was in prior performances. Here they were bested repeatedly by a Matthew Stafford turning back the clock, spreading the ball around to his weapons, complemented by the rushing of Kyron Williams. The Rams showcased to the world how to beat this Browns defense, contain their pass rush. Myles Garrett is injured, but he literally did nothing. Stafford had no sacks on his body. It's a fight now, with both sides trading touchdowns in the heat of battle. Cleveland scores to tie the game. At least in theory. They missed the extra point. Figures. It remains a one-point game after a quick Rams drive. Cleveland may get another chance, but behold the greatest blessing. A legendary Joe Flacco arm punt. In 2023! I never thought I'd witness such majesty with my eyes again. The Rams are inspired by this chucking to pull away from the Browns and win convincingly. LA is the definition of mid, but look at the NFC. It's a shithouse. The Rams are in prime position for a wildcard spot at 500. Be ready. The gauntlet is approaching. Wait a second. Trevor Lawrence is starting today? After what happened on Monday night? Pretty ballsy to be coming out with a high ankle sprain, but never question the fortitude of an NFL player. Or question the fortitude of the Browns. Who the hell knew that their best quarterback this season would be Joe Flacco? Even with him sitting on a couch for most of the year, Flacco's reviving to his old Ravens days. He loves him some tight ends. David Njoku, congratulations, here's one of the best games of your career. The Browns defense will do the rest. Turns out that starting a quarterback days after a major injury with limited mobility isn't exactly the best idea in the world. Trevor's channeling his inner check down Joe and arm punting the ball with the greatest of precision. The Jags have replaced their ability to play football with becoming pastry chefs. 4 turnovers on the day resulting in a team scrambling to find answers. In Jacksonville, your defense can't do every single thing for you. Great, they made it close in garbage time. Woohoo, it means nothing. Duval's in deep shit if they can't get it together consistently. Cleveland sits back laughing in delight. Flacco's earned himself a great honor. A permanent starting QB gig. I mean, he is the best one they've had all year. It makes sense. Who's ready for a defensive war of attrition? This is going to be trench warfare at its finest. And Cleveland has an opportunity to truly separate from the pack. Only their team wasn't ravaged by injury. Now down 3 tackles and featuring a defense of mostly backups, Joe Flacco will have to carry the load. As it has always been written in the NFL Book of Chaos. The issue is that he isn't. Joe Flacco is, well, Joe Flacco. Chicago's defense has really stiffened up over these past few weeks. And against third-string offensive linemen in some aspects, they're just teeing up on the old vet. Add to it that Justin Fields has that one play where he pulls the bullshit to social media's delight, and you have the potential for an upending. Now, only if Matt Eberflus wasn't a fucking moron and tried for a field goal before half instead of a Hail Mary. That'd be nice. The Browns are doing everything they can to stifle the Bears' offense, but if they can't solve this defense, it's over. Chicago, thanks to channeling their 85 form, have a 10-point lead in the second half. But opportunities present themselves. Muffed punts by the Bears giving prime field position only for Flacco to fail to find his precious tight end for another interception. But the Browns are a feisty, relentless bunch even in their decrepit state. They'll make crucial stops to stifle Fields and the Bears' attack. They'll chip away at the rock and stone separating them from a lead. And they'll do it by finally breaking Chicago's sturdy defense. Joe Flacco's still got a bit of that old magic left in him. Spiral right into the hands of Amari Cooper as he races down the sidelines, gets them tied back up again. Cleveland's defense once again holds firm, and Flacco embraces his elite form. Never doubt his love of a nice tight end. David Njoku has been eating these past few weeks, and on this drive, it might be his magnum opus as a professional. Right into the kicking distance of Dustin Hopkins to take the lead for the first time today. The Bears need to act quickly. They get close to the promised land, but it's not enough. It's too late to get to field goal range. Chicago's going to need prayers answered.
Chased by Garrett, flushed, looking, sets up, throwing deep. Hail Mary, end zone, deflected, tipped and intercepted.
Oh, Darnell Mooney. You had the win right in your grasp, yet the only thing you'll be holding is the bottom of the Cuyahoga. This could have been one of the greatest catches of all time. It would have been called the Hail Mooney. But we will only call for standard Bears misery. It's Cleveland-style brutality. And this loss might be the difference between bullshitting to a playoff spot and significant changes in the offseason. The Browns somehow escaped their own demise, all but secure a playoff spot and are 5-0 in games decided by 3 or less. Dear God, they really have become the Steelers. It's disturbing. We are in the most desirable of all possible timelines. A world where Joe Flacco is leading a team to a playoff run in 2023. What a time to live! Those beautiful rainbow spirals harkening back to 2012, it's a throwback to a better era. Joe Flacco is elite. Not even the sarcastic elite we were throwing around 6 years ago. Legitimately elite. The first time throwing over 300 yards in 3 straight games in his career. Leading the charge to victories left and right with his arm. You may argue that the Texans are battered to all hell and the Magic's running out, but fuck you. This is the meme that the football world has been dying for. Cleveland has not only all but purchased a ticket to January, they stamped and sealed that baby with a shitload of injuries that keep piling up in their mass grave. Case Keenum's revenge tour against the Browns ain't got nothing on Flacco magic. He went to a St. Louis Rams form. So bad he got benched for General Mills, part of this balanced breakfast. If there's any good news, Houston, you might have Stroud back next week. Do or die time. Good luck. With how much bullshit Cleveland's had to deal with over the season, no one would blame them if they simply folded and called it a day. But this team is different. A group down about 2/3 of their entire damn lineup, and their kicker and punter had their moment of vindication. And it's thanks to the elite arm of Joe Flacco, the true hero a city desperately needed, taking the reins of $235 million deadweight and steering the ship away from a perilous course. The key is in his affection for a good tight end. They should be thanking their lucky stars. In any other situation, they become the Jets. The wasting of this defense needs to be dissected thoroughly. They've literally stopped giving a shit, boasting a scheme of cover zero fucks given, going through the motions and opening the gates in a classic fuck you I quit move. With how awful their offense has been, I honestly don't blame them for it. They'll allow the Browns their moment. Who knows if they do anything in January. But today is a rare moment for them indeed, securing a spot in the playoffs. Impressive. Figured this would be in the opposite scenario at the start of the year, but things are weird in 2024. The Browns are the ones resting their starters, which means that Cleveland's now starting their 5th QB of the season. Jeff Driscoll's still in the NFL? It's the most amazing thing I've heard in a while. With a performance like this, it's a wonder why he even got another chance to begin with. Well, I guess it's another story to tell his grandkids in 50 years. When the Bengals look back, they'll want to drown this season in liquor and misery. This was as lost a year as you can get. Injuries, the sluggish start, and then the death knell when Burrow went down. Only the pondering of alternate outcomes. Dominating win means nothing more than every team in the AFC North finishing over 500 on the year. No celebrations, only mourning what was torn from them. There's always next year, they say. But what happens if year after year is more of the same? That's true pain. Before week 1 this season, Jamar Chase declared the Browns to be nothing more than a bunch of elves. He was correct. Little did he know that these weren't the kind Keebler elves that make delicious cookies and can get bullied for rent money. They got their cousins, the brutal, unforgiving dark elves that are experts in warfare and defending their homeland. Powerful weapons and deployments ambushing any poor souls that dare trespass. This ain't your Joe Woods civ this year. You get the shit-wrecking Jim Schwartz formations. Their general's surprisingly not Nick Chubb nor the $235 million albatross. From couch to commander, Joe Flacco. The legend that this hectic-ass year has been begging for. An elite quarterback for an elite team. Only they weren't battered to all hell. The constant sieges on their land have taken a huge chunk of their manpower. Nearly everything is down to the bare bones. And reinforcements have been exhausted. The last stand of the elves is here. If they go down, they'll fight to the last man. If they die, they're taking you with them. You've been warned. You figured this day would eventually come. The Browns had been ravaged by war casualties and disease, forced to a death march to hostile territory where there were easy pickings for their opponent. The Dark Elves had turned into Smurfs. The magic was gone. Resources simply exhausted. Endgame and unconditional surrender. That vaunted defense could do nothing but bow down to CJ Stroud in amazement. And when he was needed the most, Joe Flacco becometh Joe Flaccid. A throwback to his late-stage Ravens days. Death by back-to-back pick sixes. A bittersweet ending. Even for their unprecedented success, this was the epitome of a lost season. All the injuries ended whatever ambitions they might have had. And with that Watson restructure impending, this might have been their best chance to do something. One thing though, Cleveland. Did you seriously have to lose to the team you gave a fortune to for Deshaun? That honestly might be the thing that stings the most.